When Alex Morgan married Claire, the world saw it as a fairy tale. He was a self-made millionaire at just 33, charismatic, discreet, and impossibly intelligent. Claire was stunning, with a smile that turned heads and a charm that disarmed even the sharpest critics. On paper, they were perfect, but behind closed doors, Alex was not naive. He had built empires by knowing people better than they knew themselves, and from the very beginning, he sensed something hollow in Claire's love. Her eyes sparkled, yes, but never at him. More at the lifestyle. The cars, the vacations, the private chef. She was infatuated with the throne, not the king. Still, he played along. He lavished her with gifts. A penthouse in Manhattan. A villa in Santorini. Diamonds the size of marbles. He watched her bask in admiration. And he waited. The affair, it began subtly. Late-night texts, quiet phone calls in the guest bathroom, sudden girls' trips with vague itineraries. Alex never confronted her. Instead, he hired Owen Black, a former military intelligence officer turned private investigator. Within 2 weeks, Owen had everything. Photos, voice recordings, even hotel bills. Claire was sleeping with Ethan Cross, a tennis instructor she'd met at their country club. Handsome, broke, and hungry for a shortcut to luxury. Alex didn't get angry. He smiled. The moment had come. The revenge plan. Step 1, restructure everything. Alex began shifting his assets, liquidating public ones, moving money offshore, and transferring properties into holding companies with obscure ownership. Claire noticed. "Why are we selling the Lake Tahoe house?" she asked one evening. "Consolidating," Alex replied with a wink. "Bigger plans." She believed him. Why wouldn't she? He still showered her with gifts, still slept beside her, still played the doting husband, all while he quietly removed her name from every shared account. Step 2, bait the trap. He began faking exhaustion, working late hours, taking secret business trips of his own. He wanted her to feel safe, emboldened. He wanted her to make a mistake big enough that she couldn't talk her way out. And she did. The ultimatum. One Thursday afternoon, Alex came home early. He walked into his bedroom and found Claire, half-dressed, Ethan still zipping up his jeans. She screamed. Ethan turned ghost white. Alex said nothing, just stared at them for a long, unreadable moment, then turned and walked out. Claire followed, desperate, sobbing. "It was a mistake. Please, Alex." But he didn't respond. He left for the city that night and disappeared from her life. The aftermath. Weeks passed. Claire received a letter from his attorney. Divorce. No alimony. No assets. Nothing. Not even the penthouse. All she had left was a luxury car, on lease, and a closet full of designer clothes. Panicked, she hired a lawyer. They demanded half. But Alex had played the long game. Every asset was protected. Every dollar was hidden behind layers of corporate veils. Legally, Claire was entitled to nothing. Financially, she was ruined. She tried to reach out to Ethan, but he had vanished the moment Alex's money dried up. The twist. Months later, Claire was working as a receptionist at a boutique salon in the Hamptons, scraping together rent, when she saw the headline. Tech billionaire Alex Morgan marries longtime friend and business partner, Julia Reyes. She nearly dropped the coffee she was holding. In the photo, Alex stood with Julia, warm, smiling, the kind of real joy he never had with Claire. Below the image was a quote from the article. "Some people try to steal your heart, others your wallet. Fortunately, I've learned to protect both." Epilogue. Claire now lives in a cramped apartment in Queens. Occasionally, she sees Alex on magazine covers, TV interviews, Forbes lists. She tells people she was once married to him, but no one believes her, because the man in those pictures doesn't look like someone who would ever make the mistake of marrying her. And he wouldn't, not again, because revenge, Alex had learned, doesn't need to be loud or angry. It just needs to be final. The millionaire didn't lose his wife. He lost a liability and gained a lesson he would never forget. Claire stood in line at a small grocery store, clutching a few necessities, instant noodles, boxed wine, a discount lipstick she didn't need. Her hands trembled as she checked the total. $27.43. She hesitated before handing over crumpled bills, the humiliation biting deeper than usual. Outside, rain fell in gray sheets. She tugged her worn coat tighter, shivering as she trudged home through puddles and regret. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, an old model now, barely functioning. A message from an unknown number. Do you still wonder why I never said a word that day? She stopped cold. The letter, the silence, the precision. Alex. For months, she had tried to reach him. Calls unanswered. Emails bounced back. Letters returned unopened. And now, a single message. No anger. No cruelty. Just a question that spun inside her like a blade. She typed slowly. Why? You just walked away. A second later, the reply came. Because I'd already won. Words would have only diluted the ending. Chapter 3. The Shadow Network. What Claire didn't know was that Alex's revenge hadn't ended with a divorce. No, that was just the surface. He had quietly blacklisted her behind the scenes. Subtle, untraceable. Job interviews mysteriously went cold after promising starts. Credit card applications denied. Even the modeling agency she tried to revive connections with suddenly lost her file. How? Simple. Alex had influence, not just wealth. He was a quiet investor in firms that didn't even know he was their master. He moved through shell companies like smoke, his reach invisible but omnipresent. Claire had betrayed him. He didn't believe in second chances, only long lessons. Chapter 4. Redemption or illusion. But Alex wasn't heartless, just strategic. When Julia, his new wife, a woman he'd known since his startup days, asked him why he'd gone so far, he simply replied, "She treated my love like an ATM. I just cashed her out." Still, Julia's empathy made him reconsider. One rainy evening, sipping bourbon by their seaside estate, she asked, "Do you think she's learned anything?" Alex paused, looking into the fire. "I hope not. Some people need to keep falling. Otherwise, they start climbing again." Chapter 5. Claire's Gambit. One day, nearly a year after their divorce, Claire showed up at a tech conference. Disguised in a sharp navy suit and with dyed hair, she had managed to get herself in as an assistant to a vendor. She saw Alex across the room, speaking on a panel. He hadn't changed, still commanding, still unreadable. She followed him discreetly after the event, hoping for a moment, a conversation, closure, anything. But as she turned the corner behind the venue, she found two large men in suits waiting. One handed her a small envelope. Inside, a check for $250,000. A note, "Use this for a second chance. Not another mistake." She looked up. Alex was standing behind them, hands in his coat pockets. Their eyes met for the first time since that day. "I never hated you," he said, "but I needed you to feel what I felt. Now we're even." Before she could speak, he turned and walked away, this time for good. Claire moved to Portugal 6 months later. With the check, she started a modest boutique cafe near the coast. Nothing extravagant, but peaceful, quiet. She served coffee with a smile that no longer needed to pretend. And some nights, when the sea breeze drifted into the windows and the stars reflected off the water, she thought about Alex. Not with bitterness, not with longing, just memory. Because in the end, he hadn't ruined her. He had rewritten her. And in the space where revenge once burned, something like healing had begun. Moral. The richest revenge isn't destruction, it's transformation. For both sides. 3 years had passed. Claire's Cafe, Soul and Sea, had become a small treasure in the Algarve. Tourists came for the pastel de nata, stayed for the view, and returned for the calm energy Claire now exuded. Locals admired her work ethic. No one knew her past. She liked it that way. She no longer wore designer shoes or carried a luxury bag. Her closet had shed the weight of her old life. In its place, linen dresses, handmade jewelry, and a heart no longer tethered to envy or blame. But fate, as always, had a sense of timing. An unexpected visitor. On a quiet spring afternoon, as Claire was arranging lavender sprigs on tables, a familiar voice called out from the entrance. Looks like someone finally figured out what real peace looks like. She turned slowly. Alex stood there, dressed casually. No entourage, no tailored suit. Just a simple man with the same piercing eyes. Older, but softer. Claire blinked. "What are you doing here?" He shrugged. "Lisbon conference. Heard about this place from someone on the board of a travel app. Didn't know it was yours. Just recognized the name." A pause. "Can I sit?" She hesitated, then nodded. A new kind of conversation. They sat across from each other, sipping espresso in the late afternoon sun. For once, there were no games, no tension, no traps. Claire spoke first. "I used to hate you. Then I hated myself more. But somewhere in between, I just stopped needing to." Alex smiled faintly. "That's how I knew it was over. The day I stopped needing to win." She tilted her head. "Did you ever forgive me?" He took a long breath, staring out toward the sea. "I think I forgave the part of you that was just scared. The rest, I let go." Claire nodded. "I don't expect friendship." "Good," he said, "because we weren't made for friendship. But maybe we were made to end each other's illusions." They clinked espresso cups softly. No toasts, no promises, just truth. Final scene, letters in the sand. That evening, Alex left before sunset. No long goodbyes, no lingering looks. When Claire went to clear his table, she found a small envelope tucked beneath his saucer. Inside, a note written in his clean, sharp handwriting. "You lost me, but you found yourself. That means you still came out ahead. Hey." And beneath that, a business card. Alex Morgan Legacy Fund Initiative. We invest in people who've risen from their own ashes. On the back, a handwritten line. "If you ever want to help others do what you did, call me." Claire stared out at the horizon. Maybe revenge wasn't about breaking someone. Maybe it was about building something stronger from the wreckage. And maybe, just maybe, the man who once destroyed her had finally offered her a way to rebuild others. The end. Would you like a short cinematic-style trailer script or image prompt for this story? Claire stared at the business card in her hand long after Alex left. The words were simple, yet they cracked something open inside her. We invest in people who've risen from their own ashes. She didn't sleep that night. She sat on the beach instead, the waves licking at her feet, the moon hanging low. Her past had finally caught up, not with anger, but with grace. But was she ready to face it all again? To return to a world she had barely survived? She took a match from her pocket, one of the kind she used to light candles in the cafe, and struck it. She held it near the card, and then she paused. She looked at the flame, flickering dangerously close to the paper, and with a smile, she let it go, into the sea, not to destroy it, but to release it. 6 months later, the camera pans over a classroom full of women, former inmates, single mothers, survivors of abuse. Claire stands at the front, a projector behind her. She's wearing a plain blouse, no makeup, her hair tied up, confident, calm, changed. She speaks with conviction. "I know what it feels like to lose everything, to be abandoned, to be the villain in your own story. But I also know how to rewrite the ending. And that's why I'm here." In the back of the room, a man watches quietly. He's dressed in a dark coat, blending in with the shadows. A ghost from a past life. "Alex." He nods once, almost imperceptibly, then leaves before she notices. No need for thanks. No need for closure. She had found her path, on her own. Final frame. The screen fades to black, but final line appears in clean, white text. Some people take everything from you. Others give you back to yourself.